So many things are possible, just as long as you don't know they're impossible. Norton Jester penned those words in 1961 with the release of his now classic fantasy story, The Phantom Tollbooth. Listen to these words and let them resonate inside you for a moment. So many things are possible, just as long as you don't know they're impossible. Hans Rey must have believed it. He and his wife, Margaret, were German Jews living in Paris at the height of World War II. If Hans hadn't fashioned bicycles from piles of discarded paraphernalia, he and his wife would not have evaded capture for long. The city of Marseille fell to the Nazis only hours after the Reys pedaled out of France to safety. Thank goodness they took their children's manuscript, Curious Fifi, with them in the basket of one of those bicycles. And thank goodness they believed that escape would be possible. If the Reys had given up, millions of children all over the world might never have enjoyed the stories of an inquisitive little monkey known today as Curious George. I'm glad Scott Odell didn't believe in the impossible. If he did, he might never have tried to publish his first book, Island of the Blue Dolphins, when he was 65 years old. Scott contributed brilliantly to the body of fiction for young people until his death at age 90. A prestigious award for writers of historical fiction bears his name today. It seemed impossible to many in the publishing industry that anyone, let alone a child, would enjoy a manuscript several editors read in the early 1960s. It was entitled A Wrinkle in Time. The author was told as much, but she believed. She persevered. She filed rejection letter after rejection letter and kept on submitting, knowing in her heart that it was possible that her story would one day reach its intended audience. You see, Madeleine L'Engle knew best. She knew better than scores of editors and publishing houses, and she showed them so in 1963 when A Wrinkle in Time received the coveted Newbery Medal, given for the most distinguished contribution to the field of children's literature in the United States of America. Thank goodness, Dr. Seuss believed it was possible that his stories would one day be told. Some people would surely have abandoned hope after receiving more than 20 rejection letters for And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street. And what a testimony to perseverance is English author Beatrix Potter, who refused to listen when they said her story idea about a wayward bunny coming home again was never going to sell. In 1902, Beatrix Potter paid for the original press run of the Tales of Peter Rabbit out of her own pocketbook, producing the most successful self-published book in the history of the publishing industry. And now, over 100 years later, the story they said was never gonna make it remains in print and continues to delight young readers all over the world. Those of you here today who are Pride honorees, you're believers too, and somebody has obviously recognized it. If you are the guest of a Pride recipient, I imagine the news of this distinguished level of recognition came as no great surprise to you. These folks have always been honorees in your book, right? They're the kind of people who believe it can be done, whatever it is. And once they get started on something, look out. Their forward motion cannot be contained, halted, or even slowed down. They're like a bunch of semi-drivers still on the highway at 2 a.m. after 19 cups of coffee. Just shut up and get out of their way. I'm betting the Pride recipients sitting near you, they're not known as quitters. No, they find a way around obstacles that might stop most people right in their tracks. When they hear the word no, they don't quit. They can't quit. that just try a new approach. Just like Hans, Scott, Madeline, Dr. Seuss, and the venerable Miss Potter, they believe in possibilities. They find possibilities inspiring, and let's be honest, this whole theme of inspiring excellence came about because that's exactly what you Pride recipients do. You do what you do with excellence, and the people you work for find that fact, and you, inspirational.